ما شاء الله صبابي موسبيح عبدي يا حكومة ديسة يا حسبي كيس كل يا قارك جمهورية الصومالية شعب كويس ولا صعدة ما شاء الله والبلطاوة على الجزيرة أبوي سوماليلاند عيارتي واحدة ماتي جيم is over قولي قبل سوماليلاند وادل تشروي يعني كلار that's it واحدة.
What's new is that Ethiopia, which has long said that it would not be the first government to recognize Somaliland's independence, it would be the second, seems to have adjusted that view and decided to take the next step, which is to say that they would deal with Somaliland as an independent state. They have long-standing security, economic, and political ties. So this is really just a step forward, albeit a dramatic one, that has irritated the government in Mogadishu.
Under a Memorandum of Understanding or MOU, Somaliland has allowed its landlocked neighbour to lease part of its coastline, where Ethiopia wants to set up a naval base and a commercial port on the Red Sea. In exchange, Ethiopia offered to recognise the breakaway region as an independent nation. Somaliland ceded from Somalia more than 30 years ago. But its independence is not internationally recognized, and Mogadishu considers Somaliland part of its territory. In an interview with Al Jazeera in January, Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud accused Addis Ababa of annexing a part of what the country claims as its own.
The issue is not will Ethiopia access to the sea. They are free to access throughout Somalia.
Where?
In everywhere in Somalia, but the question is how. How do they want to access the sea? By annexing part of Somalia and changing the borders of Somalia? This is what's going on right now. It is not a commercial, it is an annexation of territory.
The latest rounds of tensions between Somalia and Ethiopia have been stirred by another Somali region. Puntland is a federal member state of Somalia and has announced a new cooperation agreement with Addis Ababa. Puntland has refused to recognize amendments to Somalia's constitution made earlier this week and is making moves towards more autonomy by pulling out of Somalia's federal system and wants to govern itself independently.
What links the Somaliland and Puntland issues is that Ethiopia has this MOU with Somaliland and yesterday invited a delegation from Puntland to Addis Ababa to discuss enhanced relations between Ethiopia and Puntland. And that seems to have pushed Mogadishu, or the Somali federal government, to take this step of expelling Ethiopian diplomats.
James, thank you very much for having me, first of all. That's an interesting question, but I disagree. I don't think it's a case of someone's been burnt and a country hasn't been burnt. I think what we've seen is that Somaliland and Ethiopia are ready to actually be a pioneer in Africa. They've shown Africa and the world that they're ready to collaborate on a win-win principle to ensure prosperity, peace, and development in the region. They want to show the world that actually Africans can work together, and by working together, we will achieve our goals and targets. And I think that's just a matter of fact. So that deal in 2016, yes, was being negotiated, but you know how deals are, and this deal is exactly the same. The details are currently being ironed out. I interviewed the foreign minister of Somaliland, the Republic of Somaliland, a couple of days ago, and he said that the technical aspect of the deal is almost complete. And very shortly, the details of the agreement will be ironed out. And Somaliland, being a democratic, peaceful country, and as a result of conditions on in its constitution, will actually present the deal to Parliament. So this deal will not be hidden. It will be one that follows due process and which will be ratified by the Parliament in Somaliland, in Hargeisa, and then presented to the world. But we can't put the cart before the horse.
Abdul Karim, then, well, let's look at what the two countries who've signed the deal, Somaliland and Ethiopia, get from the deal. Shamaka, you just heard there Abdul Karim saying no country recognises Somaliland, but that is the point of this deal, isn't it? Ethiopia is going to recognise Somaliland. It's going to become the first.
James, the issue here is that a lot of commentators that you see on, international news channels like yours are being intellectually dishonest. Somaliland stands in the right, as its case is both legal and moral. And I won't go around, tribal arguments or emotional arguments, but I'll give you the facts very quickly. Somaliland is the eldest state when it comes to Somalia, and actually most of the countries that it's neighbors with. Somaliland received its independence on the 26th of June, 1960, before, as I said, most of its neighbors. And Ethiopia recognizes this fact, and that's why nothing will change.
Shamaka, it did then choose. Shamaka, let's not just select bits of history. It then did choose to join Somalia and become a component part of Somalia. It was free choice then, wasn't it, in the 1960s?
Absolutely not, James. This is the fallacy that's presented on to the media. If you actually look at detail in terms of what happened, it was an actual illegal union. What happened was Somaliland's parliament at that time drafted a union in agreement with the representatives from Somalia. And actually what happened was Somalia Italiana did what I call an Italian job on this union and passed a completely different act of union, which in effect rendered that so-called act of union null and void from the get-go. And actually, if I give you a very quick example and a very quick history lesson, I'm sure you'll cover this in the future. In 1961, a British judge based in Somalia actually tried Somaliland soldiers for a coup they attempted in 1961. And he found and he ruled that he could not sentence these soldiers who attempted the coup because there was no act of union which was ratified, and he deemed it illegal. This happened in Mogadishu. So today to tell me that, we joined with Somalia, I totally disagree. And what I say is it was an illegal occupation. And we heard President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud talking about an annexation of Somalia's territory. But actually, it was Somaliland that was annexed in 1960 on the 26th
You've done your history lesson. We've done your history lesson, but it is, Abdul Karim, a little bit more complicated than that, isn't it? Because Somaliland, many would say, is a de facto country. The decisions of the president or the parliament in Mogadishu have no effect in Somaliland, and it's been the situation for since 1991. So this is well over 3 decades that the government in Mogadishu, and I know that's where you're based, doesn't really have any control over Somaliland at all. Shamaka, closing consulates. I know that in Hargeisa, the capital of Somaliland, they actually call it an embassy, the Ethiopian embassy, rather than consulate. Does Somalia have any power to close that? Does it have any ability to do what it's just ordered?
Absolutely not, James. The reality is it will have zero impact on the ground. Like Somalia's its usual attempts at nefariously undermining Somaliland. It's just a continuation in terms of Somalia's policy towards Somaliland. Actually, last year, Ambassador Delikadeh Bushra formally presented his credentials to President Musa Bihi Abdi of Somaliland, not to an administration or an entity in Mogadishu. So how can they then tell that ambassador to go home? It does not make sense, James. It's almost like Somalia telling Germany to close their embassy in France. It won't happen. In essence, Somalia has about as much impact on Somaliland as a student representative of the model UN. All talk and no impact on the ground, in my opinion. Thank you.
Shamaka, is everyone in Somaliland, I know you're in London right now, but is everyone convinced by this deal? Because I saw that soon after the deal was announced, Somaliland's own defence minister resigned and said Ethiopia remains our enemy.
James, you know what the interesting fact is? Somalia usually tries to use that as a negative. But actually, in my view, it's a positive. Somaliland is a democracy and allows for alternate views and allows for people to hold differing opinions. It was his right to resign, and it is any citizen of Somaliland's constitutional right to oppose. But however, that's not the case on the ground. The majority support this deal because they see that the future is bright for Somaliland. Recognition is important. Relations with Ethiopia is important. And Somalia is just trying to distract from its internal failures, where the government provides zero public services. All the embassies, so-called embassies they talk about, are based in bunkers in Helena. They provide nothing for their citizens. So rather than focus on Somaliland, Somalia should focus on securing its government in Mogadishu, where al-Shabaab is making considerable gains, not because of Somaliland's agreement with Ethiopia, but actually because of Somalia's actions.